let's go to those house prices first. It is the first day of October today, of course. Where did the house price figures for September come in?
Happy new house price day. Thanks for having me. So for September, we saw national home values rise 0.8%. And to your point, it's the highest monthly increase in almost 2 years, taking national home values up about 5% through the year to date. Or another way of thinking about it is that this has added approximately $40,000 to the median value across Australia. It's been a broad-based increase, with every capital city seeing an increase over the month, quarter and past 12 months, and definitely suggests a ramp up through the spring selling season.
Yeah, putting it in those dollar terms, it's certainly stark. And these are the nationwide figures, of course. Looking closer, is there anything of particular note to you in terms of the different states or city-country divide, for example?
Yeah, a couple of things. So it is a broad-based increase with each of the capital cities rising, but seems to be led by cities like Perth and Brisbane, which had over a 1.5% increase in the month. You've got Darwin running its own race at the moment with a 6% increase in the quarter and up around 13% through the year to date, as our cheapest capital city market, at least relative to other capitals. It's attracting a lot of investor interest and pretty rapid capital growth. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got Hobart, which was up just 0.1% in the month.
And with this sustained rise in prices, I mean, what's behind it? And, you know, how confident are consumers feeling at the moment?
So it's multiple factors on the demand and supply side. On the demand side, a lot of households just do have more money to spend on housing at the moment. That comes from 3 interest rate reductions so far this year. Households are on a bit of a better footing with real income growth rising, and consumer sentiment's still on the low side, but it has been gradually rising through to the start of the spring selling season. On the supply side, you've got relatively low listings levels, so not as many people advertising their property for sale as you would usually see this time of year. Across the combined capitals, total listings volumes are about 18% lower than their 5-year average, whereas sales volumes are 7% higher, so eating away at that inventory and creating more urgency among buyers and price rises.
Now let's get to this expanded first home buyers scheme. As we heard there, the Prime Minister being questioned about it, just the pressure that it's going to put on home prices, and they are predictions at this point. Now, he was sticking to that modest amount that we had from Treasury modelling, which was at 0.5% over 6 years. You know, what other predictions are we getting as to how much this could push prices up?
To be honest, it's hard to predict because a lot of Australians would be eligible for the scheme. That doesn't make them eligible for the home loan. So you need to be able to afford to service a home loan with as little as a 5% deposit. You still need to pass bank serviceability assessments, and that's going to weed some people out of the scheme. And unfortunately, it's probably going to weed lower income households out of the scheme. I also find it very interesting that, you know, when this scheme was first introduced under the Coalition as the first home loan deposit scheme in 2020, governments have had a choice as to whether they use policy to bring prices down or they give first home buyers a leg up into a market that is continually rising. And that's what successive governments have done for the past 5 years, is the latter. That's what this is. This is not about bringing home prices down. This is about boosting home ownership. And, you know, whether that adds significantly to rising house prices, there's going to be more skin in the game for home values continuing to rise because of the nature of this scheme.
Yeah, so what you're saying, so that you're going to have more people who really don't want to see house prices come down, and, you know, that's already the majority. That's once they're leveraged at this rate, particularly only needing a 5% deposit there. So what do you think this is going to mean for policy moves moving forward that could actually bring prices down or keep them at a more sustained growth rate?
I think this is our policymakers leaning into housing values continuing to rise and trying to give first home buyers a leg up into that. For an individual, this scheme can really work for you, even if you're incurring extra interest costs because you might have been spending time in the private rental market trying to save up your 20% deposit, and the rental market's very expensive. So for individuals, it can work. Systematically, over the long term, I think it fails us to an extent.